I remember the first time I saw that grasshopper, it actually, Takrisha saw it, it almost jumped on her leg, and we didn't know what it was, and we looked it up, and it's actually a kind of grasshopper, which is pretty cool. Since then, I've probably seen them maybe 3 or 4 more times, but I just thought that that was cool and wanted you guys to see that. If you guys are new here, what's up? My name is Dom. This is Faith Family Homestead. I am outside in the garden just taking a walk around and looking at things. We had a really heavy rain last night, and so I wanted to come out here and see what everything's looking like, and I ran into that grasshopper that I wanted to show you guys. All my brassicas are looking really good. These are cabbages and cauliflowers, and then I have most all my broccolis here. There are some in another bed, but I was just checking to see if I saw any bug damage, and I don't, so that's really cool. I cleaned out this bed. I think in my last video, and so this is the bed that I want to get planted today, but I'm just walking around. Yesterday I wasn't here, but I did have my son go ahead and clean out 4 beds for me, and he added some soil to them. So he cleared out this bed along this fence, as well as this one, and then 3 and 4. At this point, the only 2 beds I have in the garden are the 2 sweet potato beds that I need to actually harvest the sweet potatoes from, and then refill it with soil, probably add some fertilizer. Mama cat just walked between my legs. Every time I come to the garden, she comes to check it out. I just was looking around. There's a basil growing in the walkway out of the ground. It's a lemon basil. It's so good. It smells so citrusy. Wow. This bed right here, this is the spicy pepper bed, and they had lots of different basils here, and so I'm guessing a seed, I don't know, somehow flew over here into this walkway, but that's amazing. It smells so good. Being at Homestead of America for that 3-day trip was really, really rejuvenating, and I was really excited to be back. But since being back, it has been non-stop. And so today I decided to just take it easy. I didn't set my alarm. I woke up when I felt well rested, and my day really began really late. And so I am just now getting back from the store. I had to pick up a few more bags of soil because as we are taking out these summer crops, we are refilling the beds with fertilizer and more soil. And I had gotten 10 bags, but my son said he used all of the bags, filling only 4 beds. Y'all, soil is so crazy. I bought 10 bags because I knew there were 6 beds that I still needed that needed cleaning up, and I thought that that was going to, 1 bag per bed, and then I was going to, have some left over for other things I wanted to do. And 10 bags took up 4 beds, and those beds had stuff planted in them. They weren't just like empty beds. And so that was each bag was a cubic foot. So anyway, so I went to Walmart and got some more bags of soil so that I can finish the last 2 beds that I had originally planned. And now I'm back, and I decided to just walk through the garden before I start the things that I need to do. It is feeling so much like fall now. It's a really cloudy day. It's supposed to rain again today, and I'm just enjoying the weather. It just feels amazing out here. It does feel really good to have the garden so put together, but it's important that I get out here and plant these last seeds because I have some stuff that I need to do in the inside, like preserving some of the peppers all of the peppers that I picked, as well as the squashes that I've picked. And so I really need to be inside, but I want to get the garden planted fully so that these things can start growing. Takrisha and I planted out this bed with lots of potatoes in it. And I don't think that they'll have time to produce anything because like this one just popped up right now, and our frost is about 3 weeks away, estimated. Of course it could come later, but I don't know if any of these will have time to do anything, but we'll still leave them in there until we have no choice but to take them out. But the potatoes that we planted in this bed have all came out earlier, except for this one right here. So I'm hoping we get something off of this one as well as that one right there. These plants that you see here, if you're new, these are pinto beans that I planted. These were just store-bought pinto beans that I planted here as a cover crop in these 5 beds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I had no plans for those beds because those beds were kind of like the last beds that I put inside this garden, and I used chicken clean out from when we're brooding our chickens and ducks at the bottom, and then added some soil on top. And so I really wanted to give those beds time to break down. I decided I was going to plant some pinto beans in there and let them die back, and so that's what I'm doing. Beans, if you leave the roots inside the ground, their roots have nodules on them that produce nitrogen, and so I plan on letting them just die there. And on a couple of them I did add some pine shavings. This back area is finally becoming clear. We did empty most of the pools. This is just the what's it called, the mulch that was on this in-ground bed, and my daughter Nehemiah, 2 daughters, Nehemiah and Niall, ended up planting the sugar snap peas here yesterday, and so I'm going to leave it uncovered until the sugar snap peas decide to sprout, and then I will use the mulch to cover it back. But we got all of the pools empty besides the one that has the the ginger and the sweet potato growing in it. So the last 2 containers I need to empty would be this one and that one. I'm really excited because now that fall's coming and slowing down during the garden season, it's not really like super hot out. My husband did go ahead and get the supplies that I need to build a cattle panel greenhouse. And so I've really just been the past few days thinking about and trying to process where I would like to put the cattle panel greenhouse. I want it relatively close to the garden I have now, but our property is very slopey and not lots of choices as to close to my garden and leveled. And so I have 2 spots that I'm thinking about, but we'll see about that. And then we also got the supplies that we need to fence in our orchard area, which is the area where the ducks are now, so that we can get my trees finally planted in the ground. Now that it's cooling off, it would be the perfect time to plant them. I am so much looking forward to this cooler weather that we've been having. It's been so nice not to feel like death when we walk outside. That summer was really rough with 100-degree weather, and I am so happy now that I get to come out here and just sit and just look around at everything. So you might be wondering why I wanted to empty those pools instead of growing in them. I wanted to empty them because they're not really going with the design of what I have in my mind in this area. I'm not saying I still have lots of pools, and so maybe I could do a garden somewhere else of just like totally container gardening. But in this area, I want to continue with the metal raised beds or my existing woodside raised beds, and it's kind of just in the way right now. And so I do want to get all of them emptied and just get that space cleared up, get my trees out, and so that I could really like enjoy my garden in full, as well as getting down this landscape fabric. I definitely should have done the landscape fabric at the beginning of building this garden, but I had a different plan in mind. When I built a garden in my old house years ago, I did have what is it called, wood chip pathways, and so that was kind of the idea. And I did get this landscape fabric in case I wanted to do like rows and rows of tomatoes or something somewhere more of like a farm style gardening, where I could like plant burn holes and then have the weeds kept at bay. but I didn't end up doing that. And so I actually only put that first landscape fabric to separate the log raised beds from the wood size raised beds. And I didn't think about that beforehand, as far as like that we live farther in the country, and so that it's going to be harder to get wood chips. When I first used wood chips, we did get one load of wood chips, but then for the most part the wood chips was from our land, because when we first moved here we did have it forest mulched, and so most of our property had wood chips, free wood chips. There was wood chips over here that I used, and so I wasn't I wasn't really thinking in advance that I would need to keep adding wood chips into the pathways. And so now that the garden has been in for a full summer and producing, now I'm realizing that I should have definitely added the landscape fabric. And so I did order some new landscape fabric to put down, and I'll just be putting them in the rows that we already have existing, and then just going with that. But just sitting right here on this, I'm sitting on the fabric that I have in this corner, and I'm really excited about it. I really actually like to sit on the ground and in the garden, but I didn't get to a lot this summer just because the ground was either wet, and I don't want to sit on the ground wet. But this is like a nice dry spot, you know, for me to be able to sit on. I did have chairs and stuff like that, but I don't really sit on chairs even inside my house like I like to sit on the ground. And so I just feel more comfortable being on the ground. In my old garden, I really didn't do big fall gardens, but since being here I am really starting to appreciate the fall garden and just how green and lush, you know, the brassicas are doing, and just the weather, and being able to come out in the garden and really be able to enjoy it. And so this time has just been really nice, and I'm really enjoying it, and I intend to continue to just appreciate the fall and winter going forward, and just being able to slow down and it not be such a go, go, go. We closed on this property October 18th, and in 5 days it would actually be a year from the first day we closed on this property. And so I was definitely thinking about walking down memory lane and just looking at the pictures of how this property used to look when it was completely like that, completely wooded everywhere. We had really big trees right up along this driveway, and so the driveway was really, really small, really hard for me to get into. And now I have this lush garden sitting here, and it's just really amazing how far this property has come. I also look forward to just being inside and finishing our kitchen. We did finally get our shelves up in the laundry room. I did share that, but getting our kitchen fully shelved with the top shelves and painting our bottom cabinets. And so I'm just really excited for the months going forward and going into winter. The first bed that I put inside this garden is the bed, I'll show you. So this bed right here is the first garden bed that we put in, and it is the first bed that I planted out. It's also the first bed that I started my YouTube channel with when I was planting out 540 onion starts. So in December I would have been making videos and sharing our homestead journey for a year, and that's really exciting. All of the exciting things happening and coming up, and it just makes me so happy to get to share this with you guys, and knowing that you guys support us and just all the comments that you guys leave. It's so encouraging, and I'm just really appreciative. Oh my goodness, I just saw a squash. I was talking and I just looked over and saw that we have a winter squash growing. I saw all of these flowers and was wondering, like, where are the squash? Oh, there's another one right there. So that's exciting. Next season there probably will be some changes as far as like with the cattle panels. I might take down one of the cattle panels that I had two in the same row, just because once everything got lush it was hard for me to walk down that, because I was scared that like bugs was gonna be on me. And so I might do some switcherooing next season, or in the summer or spring next year, with how I have my cattle panels laid out. But I, for the most part, look forward to just the adventure, continuing building this garden area. the sun has come out again, and so I definitely have to get going planting out that garden bed. I have probably 3 hours before we have to leave and bring my son to baseball practice. And so I'm gonna get the planting. Thank you guys so much for being here and for supporting us and just being along this journey with us. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.